Gabe, I've got a pitch for you.
Okay.
I am petitioning to change the name of the eShop to the WowWee Shop.
God.
Because there are so many games, and we didn't even really know it. Guys, the Nindies just happened. They highlighted a bunch of titles. We have our Thursday New Game show, where we highlight a bunch of titles. And yet there still are literally dozens more that nobody ever hears about. We were looking at this week's releases from March 21st to March 27th. And there are so many. There are 32 new icons appearing on the eShop. I think 30 of them are new games, 2 are demos, or 1 is a demo, and that is absurd. I could have named like 3 games coming to the eShop this week. Maybe 4 since the Nindies had a couple day and date drops. But there are 32, Gabe, and we found that this happens most weeks. Most weeks, there are 20 plus, even 30 plus games that drop on the eShop, and that is absurd.
Yeah, this poses a lot of questions in my mind. Like, one,
why?
Yeah, like why do these exist? Like, and you know, developers, cool, make your money. Like, the Switch is an awesome safe haven for smaller games. That's really, really awesome. But I get confused as to there's 32 of them or 20 plus a week. Obviously, not every game is going to get the attention, and you know, this is probably a topic for a little bit later in the video. I mean, the cream have to rise to the top. It's just unfortunate that bottom just like completely falls out and is like in this like void of existence that no one is ever going to know your game is on Switch.
I mean, I knew that there are tons of games on Switch. We've seen them pass the different thresholds of like 500 games, 1,000 games, 1,500 games. And I'm sure a lot of you knew that there's a bunch of games, but did you guys and girls know that there are this many releasing on Switch? Give us your take in the comments down below. Hit that like button if you enjoy the video. It does help us out a lot. It's just crazy because, Gabe, there's even some retail games that get missed over. There's one this week called Xenon Racer that is a day-and-date release on Xbox and PlayStation and Switch. Didn't even know this thing happened or existed.
And it actually looks like really cool, and that's one of the fears now for me, I guess. Now that I know that there's so many games, like, am I gonna miss out on something that's like really awesome just because there's like no fanfare and maybe it's not coming from a developer or publisher with any type of pedigree? Like, are we missing out on stuff? Because Xenon Racers looks cool.
And we'll get to the ones we recommend, but let's also be very honest with ourselves. Most of these look terrible. Most of this stuff looks completely skippable, pass-overable. I mean, there is a 3DS game from 2013 released on Switch this week. So where they're pulling from is almost out of this world. Like, there are mobile games coming over and charging more. There are small games trying to get in on that 99-cent page. There's old 3DS stuff. There's retail games that nobody even knows about. And then obviously there's, like you mentioned, the cream of the crop, the Final Fantasy VIIs, the Galaxies. But it's just so interesting that there's so much. And I think inundating the eShop with all of this does become a problem. It has been a problem. And that's what makes things like the Nindies so important, of trying to bring attention, not just to like, hey, what's good, but also just awareness of any kind.
Yeah, I mean, look, one thing is that the Switch sells really, really, really well. There isn't a lot happening right now with like first party, and you know, there's indie games coming, but we've kind of been in a little bit of a dry spell. So if you're like a small company making this like tiny game, like why wouldn't you want to put it on this platform that, you know, has a growing install base, a rapidly growing install base, and continues to do so well? So I understand why, I guess. It's just like, I don't even know what to say, really.
Yeah, it is good. You know, Nintendo's openness and their flexibility and their welcoming of indies has helped boost the Switch tremendously. But it's sort of like what's happened to Steam in recent years, where there is so much, the flood is so strong that it begins to just be a big blur. And it begins to get very skippable. You know, even for good stuff, if you either don't know about it, or you decide to wait a week, or you forget, it probably will be lost to you. Because if you scroll back through that eShop list, and you know, we can make our quarterly call for a better eShop, please organize that stuff better, please give us more options. And, you know, Gabe, they need an eShop show. We need to get little 8-bit Kirk and Katie on there to have an eShop show where you click on it and it gives you a little 15-second boom, 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 here's where to go and here's what to find. If you forget about a game like Blaster Master Zero 2.
Dude.
It's gone.
You hit on it, right? That's exactly what I was about to say. I have this week to play Blaster Master Zero 2. If I don't play it this week, it is forever gonna basically just not be a thing for me, even though I enjoyed the first one. Because Yoshi's out next week, right? So that's gonna take some of my time, and then after that, we're just like moving on. Like time isn't passing, like very slowly. So it's just going as fast as possible. And then once summer hits, we're gonna be covering all the big stuff happening in summer, and it is a very busy summer for Nintendo Switch in a lot of ways. We have big games coming, we have some smaller games coming that look really cool. So you're right, if you like are an avid fan and you don't get to play something that you're interested in any given week, it might just kind of just be gone permanently.
But even if you don't buy anything new, like even if you're not buying Yoshi, even if you're not staying up to date with every important Nintendo release, just from a sheer like visual perspective, that stuff is gone. It took me months to realize, Gabe, that Super Chariot came out on Switch. I really wanted to play that game. It's a cool co-op game that originated on Xbox Live Arcade. And I did not know it came out. And one day I was like, I am going to scroll super deep. I'm going to go to the deepest dark web of the eShop, the dark shop, the dark E. And I found it. And I was like, I didn't even remember or know that this came out. So merely on a visual, searchable perspective, like if you miss out or you forget, these 30 release weeks bury the stuff that even does get mentioned, even does get marketing, and it makes sort of a situation that I don't know how to feel about. It's great that there's a lot of options. It's great that small companies, small devs, one-man shows, two-woman shows have a chance to put something awesome out and make a great, mark for themselves. But if we look, is there a single example of an unmentioned eShop game that you stumbled upon one week and ended up loving?
One came to mind just now. We were trying to think of some before. Like, I guess Slamland is one.
Okay.
That one definitely counts for it. Because,
that is a great one-off example.
Yeah, because we were, like, thinking, like, hey, like, have we ever just gone on eShop and like picked something up that like isn't selling super well, doesn't have any critical acclaim, and we just like wholly found it on our own and we liked? I think Slamland fits, but other than that,
not
like
much else.
Honestly, we struggle to find anything. Like we're on eShop all the time because we're looking for cool stuff to cover, and you're right. Like other than that one specific instance, I can't think of anything else that I've discovered on my own without prior knowledge of it.
Because the common thread is that, it's hard for the good stuff to rise. But I think, in fact, the cream does rise to the top often, more often than not. I mean, look at the games we play. It's not like, oh, goodness, this Steam World series, never heard of it. Man, it's so great. So I don't know that the issue is so much, wow, there's all of these buried gems. I mean, I'm sure from the developer perspective, it's very hard to get noticed. It's very hard to make money. It's very hard to, unless you get lucky, to appear on any list or, you drop to 99 cents and hope that shoots you up the charts. So from their perspective, yes. But from a gamer's perspective, I don't know that is as much the issue of noticeability as much as it is like just total overwhelm that then causes apathy. Because we see it week by week in our new game announcements video. People are so quick to just dismiss things because it looks like something else. There's already been 4 roguelikes this week. There's already been, 18 pixel art games this month. So it's almost like there's so much noise, it goes silent.
Yeah. I mean, and how do you even combat that, I guess? Like, I mean, something eShop related, right? It's like some curation of some kind. We know that, user reviews on Steam are very important. And, for a while now, people like curate their own lists, and people can go and look for stuff based off whatever content creator they want. But Nintendo doesn't have anything like that.
I think that'd be a great system because it's something we even use to help gauge these eShop games, since most of them do come from Steam and they have a lot of reviews over there. I mean, it's the kind of polar opposite to back in the day when Xbox Live Arcade would target a specific release every week, and you'd have this one game that you're really excited for. Now, Nintendo has many more than one good game, and we'll talk about our favorites from this week just to pull a few out of this list of 32. So they don't need to just focus on one, but it's interesting to see it go from, wow, we're really excited for this digital release, to, oh my gosh, there are 30 a week, and we just ignore it because it's so it's so intense, and even great stuff that we're planning on or thinking about playing gets so quickly lost. I'm sure a lot of you out there like just lose track of these games. Like, oh, that's already out. Oh, I missed that. Oh, and then there's now, Gabe, if you skip a week on the eShop, you could be looking at a 60-game gap between what you just saw and what you're now seeing.
Yeah, it's a huge problem. Maybe there is something to like, hey, is there a such thing as too much of an open market, right? Like if you allow literally anything and everything, some stuff that maybe is quality could easily just not find the success that they otherwise would have if it was a little more curated. So, I mean, that is an interesting thought.
This week, we've got Final Fantasy VII, which obviously is a classic.
That'll do
coming
well.
to the platform. We've got Nuclear Throne, which was a Nindies Insta-drop, and that's a great game. We're passing over it because we've played it a bunch before, but it's still great. Blaster Master 02, and Gabe, this is one I want to highlight because we had said we were going to go play this.
Yeah, I mean, I got to play it today or tomorrow.
And I was going to say, I know that we didn't, and it's just like, it's so easy to just forget. I mean, I'm already looking on Twitter and we're seeing like, ooh, Steam World Quest is talking about like a release date coming soon. So your eyes ahead, and oh, like, hey, Cuphead is right around the corner and we've been playing that. And oh, like, they have just such a small window, even for the good stuff. Mm-hmm. Even for the good stuff. All right, there's also Grand Prix Story, which is a Kairosoft game. They've made a lot of these, and now this one helps you assemble an auto racing team. There is the aforementioned Xenon Racer, which is a $50 retail release, day and date with other platforms. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could pick it up. I don't know if I can justify the $50, especially when, other platforms exist, and Sekiro just came out, so you pay $10 more, you get like that. So,
right.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, Xenon looks cool. I'll say that.
It's so hard from a spreading your dollars around standpoint of, I mean, we didn't use the calculator and add it all up, but it would be hundreds of dollars if you bought everything that came out this week. Mm-hmm. And no one's doing that, but just from the like availability of gaming dollars, so much of this stuff just will never do well. And so much of it probably shouldn't, because so much of it does look pretty crappy.
Yeah.
But a game like Xenon Racer, it's so hard. It has, split screen, it has online. The graphics look solid. We don't know anything about how it plays or performance, but it looks kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. It really does.
It supports cloud saves and needs paid online. I mean, could be interesting. There's also Galaxy The Void Deluxe, which is, and this is like another example. I thought Galaxy was already on Switch, but there is an original Galaxy designed for Switch that's on Switch, and this is the original actual Galaxy Deluxe version coming to the platform. It's just so messy in so many ways. Like, I don't think until today I realized how chaotic the eShop can really be.
Yeah. I mean, and definitely let us know in the comments, like, if you've experienced this, if you are familiar with this chaos, and maybe we're just like a little bit like late to the party and realizing all this. But yeah, I mean, I want to know what people's experiences are. Like, did you guys even know that there's 20 plus games like every single week?
It's crazy. And yet when we see the top selling eShop games, it's games from launch week.
Yeah.
I could not believe that Graceful Explosion Machine is still on there as one of the top 10 sellers.
Yeah,
it's absolutely bananas.
Yeah.
The last one we wanted to touch on is Apocryph,
an old school shooter.
An old school shooter in lowercase.
It's been on Steam. The reviews aren't great, but it honestly looks like decent. And we don't have a lot of shooters on Switch, so anytime I see one, I kind of want to highlight it. And you guys are looking at gameplay now, so maybe check it out if you want to.
The hard part is we went through all 32 games, and we pulled 7 of them. Now, 2 of these were day and date drops on, with the Nindies. So if those weren't there, there would be 5 games out of 30.
Yeah.
And the rest weren't like, ooh, this one looks close, man. Like, I can't decide. Are we going to put, Nuclear Throne? Are we going to put this? Ooh, are we going to put Final Fantasy? It was like, oh, God, no. Goodness gracious, no. So when you're batting with, like, 90% of your titles being instant skips, are you just cluttering the platform? Are you allowing for good stuff to maybe come out? It's a really difficult thing, I think. And I'm sure the balance ends up being, hey, we'd rather have the opportunity out there and have that positive wide open market and that mentality versus be closed off and risk missing out or risk having a lack of variety. But Gabe, in a couple of days, Blaster Master 02 is going to be so far down on that eShop trail, you may never find it again.
Yeah, I mean, I'll know it exists so I can search, but my memory's not that good, as you know.
And just, it's like, it's the App Store, it's Steam, it's now Nintendo Switch, where there is a tsunami of releases, and so many of them quickly wash away. Let us know your take on this eShop overload in the comments down below, and if you've ever picked up a game that nobody talks about, and it ended up sticking on your home screen, something that you really went back to, or really enjoyed, more than you thought, or more than I guess anyone really thought. Give us your take in the comments down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have a fantastic day. For myself and Gabe, SwitchForce